like a half foul. What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you come into the channel. Check out the content. I got my man E-Man in here. Then I got Clayton and I got Tunk in here. Man, I know we're gonna have another good show, right? And y'all came up before we came on. Y'all came up with some suggestions for topics that we could talk about. I want y'all to keep those in mind, because I want to start off with Shannon Frye, right? I know they other shows probably spoke about this probably like, all through the week. But I want to speak about Shannon Frye and his comments that he made that nostalgia is killing the league, right? And so let me see if I can find that. I want to get the audio. I'm gonna play the audio in a second of Shannon Frye when he said that nostalgia is what's hurting today's NBA. Let me see if I can get that on here now.
Some people just know they could.
All right, let me see. Always got to be a commercial, Jack. I don't get paid for these commercials, but I ain't even gonna make commercials. But yeah.
Channing Frye fired up comparing the generation of today's players versus the previous. Take a listen.
Nostalgia is killing the NBA. The 90s basketball, Michael Jordan and Kobe, was not as clean as y'all think it was. Wemby, Bron, Steph, this, that. They compare them to 40 years ago. The rules weren't even the same. Nobody celebrates these new people. So why would anybody want to be the face of this league where you're going to get on every network for not being somebody from 40 years ago?
All right, so look, what y'all think about what Shannon Frye said about celebrating? Like those guys don't get celebrated enough, and they keep getting compared to the older guys.
I think it's dumbass is trying to make an excuse. You like that? That's what you do when you go generation to generation in any sports or anything else. You compare it to the previous generation. You know what I'm saying? And then if you don't compare up, then people will talk about it. That's plain and simple. You know what I'm saying? That's what you judge how good your product is by the previous product that was put out there. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is. Every sport does it. You got every sport has that great generation that gets compared to another generation. It's up to the league and it's up to the players to withstand that situation. And if they can't, they can't. And the NBA proved that they can't.
Right.
I mean, I didn't even understand his statement where as though it's 40 years ago. So what? People still comparing great baseball hitters to Babe Ruth.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what you do when you want to have that GOAT stigma put up there, or you want to make your league be the best that it can be.
Right. I agree.
I think it's a little bit of victim blaming, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're the fans.
Yeah.
And we know what we want, and you're telling us what we want isn't what we want.
Right.
I mean, it's a stupid comment in my opinion. He's entitled to his opinion about us, but
right.
The fans are saying how they feel.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. I think especially older fans, like we had the privilege of seeing like some great basketball played in the 80s and the 90s, right? And then so when you try to tell us that what we looking at right now is great basketball, and we know the difference, that that don't really fly right now. So yeah, I thought it was what you think, Tom?
I think his comment, we in love with nostalgia and that's ruining the NBA. I wouldn't necessarily say it's ruining it, but everything is compared to yesteryear, but it's compared in a bad way. If you ask me, man made a point like everybody is comparing, the hitters to Pete Rose but they don't do it in a bad way. They don't say this hitter is trash because he's not Pete Rose, or you know what I'm saying. They don't say this dude is trash because he's not Hank Aaron, or he's trash because he's not, you know what I'm saying, Roberto Clemente, so on and so forth. I think with the NBA, man, and a lot of guys who's talking about yesteryear, they played, you know what I mean, years ago, 30, 40 years ago. So it always come across as back in my day when I played. I never hear nobody talk about the current generation being better than theirs. If you go back and you talk to Big O and you talk to Jerry West when Jordan was playing, they would never say that era was better than theirs. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just kind of like par for the course, I think. But I wouldn't say just the people who are speaking that we want is the game is not as good as last, you know what I mean, as the last generation. I think you gotta look at who's the messenger. A lot of them guys are from that previous generation, so they aren't gonna say that this generation is better than theirs.
Yeah. What you think, Clay?
I think he was referring to the media coverage of the sport and what the reporters are saying. And you know, with that said, I just think these guys just miss a valuable thing, that it's a different time. So back in the 80s, 90s and stuff, you just had reporters that was covering the sport. So their job was to report the sport, the statistics, who did what, X, Y, and Z. Now with what ESPN and other networks giving birth to sports debate shows, reporters are now turning into opinionists, and that's creating a whole nother dialogue around the sport. And that's just the era in which these guys are playing in, you know. So I wouldn't say that that's the difference between the two, but I still believe there are still reporters out here just covering the sport, not getting into the opinion game, and they are celebrating some of the young stars and stuff. Like, for example, Wendy, he covers the sport. He might appear on First Take here and there, but he pretty much, he doesn't get into that opinion game. He tries to celebrate everything that's being done in the modern era and stuff like that. So I think the statement is a little narrow-minded in a sense. It's like a small view. You know, you got to look at everything in its totality. And I just think this guy's not looking at the whole picture. Just like LeBron's statement, it sounds similar to his, but I get it to a certain extent, but it's a different time now. So reporters aren't just reporters no more, they're opinionists.
Yeah, well, let me say, like, when they say it's a different time, like every generation could say that it's a different time, right? But back to man's point that like you won't have one generation without the next generation. So you are always going to be standing on the shoulders of the previous generation, right? So with that being said, I think a lot of those, like Michael Jordan didn't complain about Irvin, what's the Dr. J and Oscar Robertson and the guys who kind of came before him, you know, and Bill Russell and them, they, you know, those guys, they never complained. So, you know, they just took the NBA for what it was, and then, you know, they made the best out of their situation.
I don't think these guys are complaining about the old guys. They are complaining about the media and how the media is talking about the new guys. They're not complaining about Mike and them. They're talking to the media.
Right.
That's what they do.
Come back to like Charles Barkley. You got Charles Barkley who said, because I think some of the older guys are saying that the product of today is not you know, like, you know, they're being honest about what they see and of you know, their opinion about the product.
And you'll have a guy like Draymond directly address Charles Barkley. You'll have a guy like KD directly address Charles Barkley. But these statements from LeBron and this guy is really geared toward the media, and it's a different media now. They're not just paid to cover the sport. You got opinionists, so it's a whole nother discourse. But you know, in my opinion.
But if you look at it this way, the product that the NBA is putting out on the court now is subpar, and you got to look at the average NBA viewer right now. came in the 2000s, came in the late 80s, late 90s. So they saw the product, so they got their money's worth when they bought a ticket. Now you buy a ticket, you're hoping that the star players is actually playing in the game you bought the ticket for. You know what I'm saying? You're actually hoping that you're going to get a good quality game out of the more money that you're spending. So when you go quality versus quantity, the situation is the NBA is not putting out the quality for the quantity of the price of the tickets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that what makes fans mad. Viewership. You know what I'm saying? Back then, you couldn't see a Knicks game unless it was played on one of the big three stations, or you were in New York. Now you can get NBA ticket and watch a Knicks game anywhere, everywhere. So as far as visibility, the NBA has never been up front more than they are now back in the day. But people aren't watching it because the product that the NBA puts out there is subpar to what people used to get. Sundays on NBC, basketball used to be the bomb. They would have 3 games, and it would be 3 top games, and you knew you was getting, everybody was playing back in those days. Now you don't get that type of product.
Yeah. That's true. And I think that, like, for Shannon, what's his name? Channing Frye and LeBron James, I think like they have to like look at the history of the game and learn from the history of the game moving forward. It just seems like when they're talking about the sport and people that are criticizing the sport, they're taking it personal, but they're not trying to learn from the past experience of the generations that came before them. And so if you don't do that, then it's going to be hard for you to elevate the league because you are making mistakes that you don't necessarily have to make if you knew the history of the game.
But you're right. And the best way to change your product and make it a better product is listen to the constructive criticism going on right now. You know what I'm saying? If the fans looking for a face to put with the NBA, then give them a face. Don't run away from the controversy. Go right forward to it. You know what I'm saying? That's what the NBA right now. I think the NBA is just running away from the situation of the low ratings. You know, the fans are being upset, and like what you said, you know, the opinions of everybody is coming out vocal now because of the way the media is. NBA has to listen to this and then, you know, figure out what to do with it. When you just turn your back on it and say, look, I don't care what the media is saying. I don't care what the fans are saying and everything. I put out the product that I want to put out. Eventually, that product will die.
Well, that has to do with like the NBA brass. You talking about Adam Silver, the NBA front office, and things like that.
Right. You gotta listen.
The players themselves, the superstars that we have in the game now, the young ones. I ain't talking about the older guys. You know, like Steph and KD, like the younger guys. They don't necessarily want the responsibility of being the face of the league because they don't want their every move scrutinized and under a microscope, so to speak. And I think that's where at one time people would embrace it. Now they don't. The players, I think someone said this, but I don't know where I've read it. The players don't look at the NBA as partners, like we're partners. They look at it as though like they're the bank. They look at it like it's us and it's them. It's not like it's one of the same. And it's more so business now, I think, than it's ever been in the players' eyes. I know players always knew it was a business, but these young guys, and we spoke a little bit about it yesterday, like, man, it's all about the bag. It's nothing else. You know what I'm saying? And I think this generation that's playing now, that's their main focus. It's not necessarily about winning. It's not necessarily about team loyalty or anything like that. I know Mike is big on that and stuff like. It's not like that. We didn't got away from that. It's about me, my brand, my followers, my endorsements, my shoe deal, things like that. Me.
Yeah.
Everything is brand awareness, and the young guys get that now in a way that the older generations didn't have to worry about. That was management and the league's responsibility to worry about brand management and brand awareness. They just had to go out there and focus on the game.
Perform.
And now everybody is worried about their own brand versus the league brand. And that's where I think Silver and the management is they're trying to figure out how do we get control of the brand? How do we drive the narrative? And they're struggling.
Yeah. I don't know that the league is struggling though. I think the league is I think because the league they control the environment, right? And so narratives that like what Shannon Frye just said, like they can allow those narratives to be pushed because they control that environment. So, you know, I don't know. I just think that these players of today are being like in a sense like used and manipulated to push like a certain narrative, and also to hide the fact that the league made a mistake when they changed the league. I don't know if it was a mistake, but I just think that when they changed the league so it can be more of an international appeal, that is falling back on the players when it wasn't the players' fault. And so if you put a narrative out there that fits what the league wants you to, if it fits their narrative, then they're going to allow that narrative to sell.
You know, with LeBron, with his statements, this guy's statements, they don't realize that they're actually becoming the very thing they despise. So they upset with the media shitting on everybody, the young stars. This is what they say. They're getting shitted on. So nobody want to be the face because there's so much negativity. LeBron talking about his weird energy. But those guys are only focusing on the negative things that's being said about the young stars. There's a lot of positive things out there being said about these young stars, but they're only focusing on that. So they're becoming the very thing they despise.
Yeah, and that's why I say I think they're being manipulated. Go ahead, Tom.
No. I'm not disagreeing with Clayton on that. It is, but the polls that's front and center on Fox 1 and on ESPN is always talk about the bad things or the things that's not good. You know, we hear you know what I mean, too much about that and not enough about the good basketball that's being played. And they spend the first 15, 20 minutes of the show talking about someone low managing or somebody, you know what I mean, not showing up for this or not showing up for that or saying this and not even talking about the good basketball that's being played. We spoke on it yesterday, whereas though we was talking about something, Paul George or something, talking about he gonna put this podcast up for a minute, he gonna shelve that. But a couple days prior, Steph just had 56 points against Orlando. But no one was talking about that. Or the numbers that Joker had put up, triple-double numbers he had put up in a win. No one spoke on that. You know what I'm saying? It's always like the negative part of the game that's taken front and center. And if you're not a pure fan and you're not really, checking the stats and all that and this, you wouldn't even know. That's all you know what I mean? I wouldn't even know Steph had 56 until I checked the box score. You know what I'm saying? Because all he was talking about was the negative things.
Well, in fairness, the first take, they did start off with Steph dropping 56. They started off with that. They did. But it is people reporting that kind of stuff. And yet the negative stuff is what's really bringing in the viewership and stuff. So I think it's a microcosm of society in a sense, because I really honestly hear you got some guys on there that's always trying to uplift the stars. Like, however way you feel about this guy, Kyle Hurt or whatever his name is, he always tries to celebrate the stars in the league. You still got Sports Center that plays and shows highlights. You got Scott Van Pelt. He always tries to celebrate the guys and the stars and stuff like that. And a lot of times, if you listen to Kenny Smith talk and stuff, he's very pro. He tries to bring a positive light on what's going on with the young stars and stuff. So here again, my point, it's out there, but the focus is the negative stuff and the constantly. You see, one thing about society loves to complain, and society loves to, be a victim in a sense. So now the players are taking on that victim mentality, like y'all shitting on our generation and it's making them push back. So to me, it's just a microcosm of society, but it's plenty of good stuff out there for the play. I'm saying that for the players. I'm not saying the product is good. So don't misunderstand. I'm just saying for these players, there's plenty of good stuff being celebrated, but they are choosing to focus on the negative and constantly. Now this narrative is out there about, them shitting on us. So I don't want to be the face. And a little bit of Anthony Edwards saying that. I'm not even sure if he wasn't just trolling them when he made that comment.
Yeah. But I don't really with Anthony Edwards, like by him being so young, and then I want to see like his play on the floor. You know what I mean? Like his press conferences, like you said, his press conferences, he might say one thing, but when he get out there and he going at him and he playing hard, that's more so of what I'm concerned at. But like the older players in the league, when they have a more of a track record for us to look at, and comment on. Yeah, but Anthony Edwards, I didn't really feed too much into his. I was surprised that he said that publicly, that he didn't want that leadership thing. But if he go out and he play like a champ, then that's different. What's up,
And you
Tom?
got to remember too, the NBA took a hit in a sense with Zion first, his injuries and things like that, and John Morant.
Rodgers and John Morant. Yep. They were trying to put him in the forefront.
Guys, I think they would have been up for it had they, been able to stay healthy in Zion, and then Ja, he wouldn't have gotten to that trouble. I think they would have been up for that. I think the NBA wouldn't have had a problem with pushing that, even in them small markets, in Memphis. I think the NBA would have got behind them guys and pushed that. But it didn't work out. Now it seems like they're in scramble mode trying to find somebody to fill that void, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, let me ask y'all this, because Tom says that he seems to believe that we're living in a world today where we have short attention spans, and people are always in their phones and in the movies and so we have short attention spans. Do y'all think like the short-sightedness and the short attention spans plays into a part of feed into like the comments that the guy Channing Frye made?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
much
so
what
too.
I'm saying. Yes.
Yeah, I think that played a part in it, because he's not really looking at, to me, the big picture, or he's not really taking into account like the history of the game when he make comments like that. So yeah, I think it's the short attention spans. And when he say nostalgia, hurt the league, and that's the first time I heard that. I never heard like I said, Bill Russell say nostalgia hurt the game, or Michael Jordan say nostalgia hurt the game, because they celebrate, they used to look back on the 60s when Bill Russell and them played, and they used to look back fondly on those, they had good things to say about that. So
but it's a feeling, or people think that the era of Michael Jordan was the greatest era in basketball, period. Right? That's what people think. Not the era before him, not the era behind him. His era was the greatest era ever. Now, this is the era or generation or two generations removed from the Michael Jordan era. And we're still talking about Michael Jordan era was the best, and when he played, this happened, and when he played, that happened, and that takes away from what we're seeing now. Because no matter what we see now, you ain't gonna be the Jordan era. You ain't gonna be that era. So I think that's where Channing was playing. He might have been, he might have been able to stay a little different. But I think that's what he's alluding to when he says that, like nostalgia is killing it, because no matter what we do now in the NBA is always going to be compared to that era, and it's never going to measure up.
But let me say that. Let me say this though. But don't that, like, all right? So when you coming in though, don't that give you something to shoot for though, as a basketball player? Like Michael Jordan wanted to beat He wanted to have more rings than Magic. Magic had 5, so Mike knew that in order to surpass Magic, he had to get 5. So you know, so they didn't do any complaining about, man, y'all keep comparing us to the Lakers, the Showtime Lakers, and we not the Showtime Lakers. You know, this is a new day and age, you know, so they just went out there and took care of business. So that, you know.
But see,
Yeah, but at the same time, though, they wasn't saying with the comparisons, y'all suck and they better. And what I really think the guy is saying is that you guys as media is stuck in nostalgia. And that's what's hurting the sport. Not nostalgia is necessarily hurting the point. Like y'all can't get your head around the evolution of the athlete and what's happening now. That's what he's trying to say to the media.
I'm gonna tell you what's really doing it for the NBA. It's the demographics right now. The NBA younger audience isn't as large as it should be, like we were when we growing up. You know what I'm saying? We watched Jordan play. Okay, we never watched Bill Russell, so we didn't really have a comparison between Jordan and Bill Russell when they were playing. We're still watching basketball, so that's where the comparison comes in, because we saw this live. Now, this younger generation is more, like they said, on their cell phones, short attention spans. So if you're not capturing this young generation, they're leaving. So the only people that's watching the NBA is us and maybe one generation back. But where these kids now, you got more kids in the bracket between 9 and 18 watching a lot more women's basketball now than they watching the men's pros. And that's because it's more exciting. They're not concentrating on the younger demographics that will pull their numbers to say, oh yeah, I watched LeBron play. He was the greatest. And that's what's going on, is the demographics that they're not entertaining right now.
And I'm gonna say something to all of us, right? We turned into our parents and fathers, like my stepdad, right? No matter what Jordan did, Jordan wasn't shit. He didn't compare to Elgin Baylor or Wilt Chamberlain or stuff like that. He was stuck in nostalgia. He couldn't accept Mike for, you know, what he was doing great. We have become that too. We can't get our head around the new game because we're stuck on the old game. I'm not saying good or bad or anything. I'm just saying that's the thing. That's a thing. It's a generational thing. You hold on to yours. Right. And you can't embrace the new. And all of us, to some degree, have some of that in us.
Well, look at the pushback. Look at the pushback that you just said. You would talk about Jordan, and your father would talk about somebody else. You talk about Jordan now. This generation, who are they talking about?
LeBron and other people.
They've been butting to us about who's better.
Yes. This is the same thing's been going on for generations, man.
Well, let me ask y'all this though. Like, even though like if our fathers like Oscar Robertson and they like Bill Russell, right? We still heard what he said. You know what I mean? We and because we didn't get to watch those guys, we couldn't identify with that. That's true, right? But we still. You know what I mean? I don't think we still complain though. I don't think this generation still complains.
I couldn't hear nothing my stepdad was saying. Me and him would sit there and argue and debate. I wasn't trying to hear it. All I knew was Mike was the best, and I don't care what he said. And I would look at old video and be like, them guys ain't athletic. Ain't no way. Mike would have scored 100 playing against them guys. This used to be my mentality.
And that's the problem that I'm saying with the NBA. Yeah. We would debate our superstars. This generation don't debate their superstars and how great they are.
Okay.
They don't do that. You get that debate between LeBron and Jordan right now, but that up-and-coming generation, their debate is going to be bad.
It stops there. There's no other greats from this generation that they talk about from that generation. It stops with LeBron and Jordan. That's it. Don't nobody talk about nothing else. Don't nobody talk about nothing. Don't nobody debate Steph and Isaiah. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody debate Bird and KD. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody debate that.
Yeah. This NBA generation is going to get lost if they don't have any superstars to debate their father's greatest. Okay. That's the way it's going to be. If I can't debate my father's greatest, that means I'm not watching the sport.
If you all think about it, the NBA, whether they want to admit it or not, they're leaning so much still on KD, LeBron, and Steph.
Right.
That goes to show by the Olympics. You know what I'm saying? They're still leaning into them because they are dependable. And what I mean by that is, you know that they're going to show up, they're going to play hard, they're going to give you their all day in, day out. They're not load managing and things like that. And these guys are in their 15th, 16th, 17th season. You know what I'm saying? LeBron in his 22nd season, and no one has been able for them to pass that on to, where they can rely, you know what I'm saying, and lean on them and trust them to carry the league into the next, you know what I'm saying, for the next 5-10 years. There's no one that they feel confident enough that they can lean into and do that. So they still relying heavily on them guys, man.
So what's going to be, all right, so with the way the NBA is now, so what's going to be like moving forward then? What y'all think the state of the NBA is going to be like with these new this new group of stars, like, you know, coming behind?
Yeah, see, I think it's the direction that people are moving in, more so the league, because people always determine it. And I'm not sure, like Tom made a great point about the short attention spans. So I'm not sure moving forward that certain sports and stuff like that is going to be enough to hold people anymore. So I'm not even sure if sports are going to continue to excel. You know, it could wind up becoming a dinosaur in a sense, and not just basketball. You know, I feel like baseball is really quickly moving into that. And just because people's interests are changing so rapidly, you know, so I'm not even sure about the future. Not that the talent and the evolution of the athlete won't be there. It's just, I just think the direction that people are moving in.
They won't be as interested.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's why I think they didn't start out to create partnerships with all these streaming, because they know, like man was saying before, they're not paying that money to go to the games no more. You know what I mean? So now they said, well, all right, we got, you know what I mean, promote our product on these streaming services now and get the viewerships in like that. You know what I'm saying? Get the viewerships in like that.
Sometimes, I mean, if you look at the NFL and the product the NFL's coming out with, they're coming out strong every single year. So people pay attention to like the combine and stuff now. So there's a way to market it to your product. Okay. It's just the NBA just got to figure out how the NFL is doing. They just got to figure it out. And the one thing to me that like I said it yesterday, that's killing what the NBA is putting out there is these damn guaranteed contracts.
I think something that the NFL gets right, whereas though the NBA and Major League Baseball is still lacking in. NFL, even with all their superstars, and they still push team first. It's not looked at as an individual sport. It's like team first. You know what I mean? Of course, it's Patrick Mahomes, but you hear Kansas City Chiefs. You know what I'm saying? Of course, it's Saquon, but you hear Philadelphia Eagles, and so on and so forth. It's not promoted as an individual sport. I think that's what the NBA got into years ago. I think they got into promoting individuals over team, and I think with players moving like they do and free agency and things like that, fans aren't staying. They following the player more so than the team now. They're not really locked into a team. This is a player.
Also, Mike, to add to my point a little bit, I believe people are moving also into this space where they no longer have the need to live vicariously through anything else. People are really finding themselves, and they don't no longer need that. I don't need to live vicariously through a superstar and stuff like that to get my stimulation. People are finding stimulation within. That's why I think the interest going to die down in a lot of those things.
So so all right, so like give me an example of like how people are moving like, and because I think people are easily manipulated, and I see it the other way, like people are easily manipulated. I think we have a lot more outlets for stimulus, but I don't think that, that's not a good idea for the powers to be, that like people are have that type of self-control, you know what I mean? So I don't think they're going to allow that to happen.
Well,
So
they're trying to fight it by keeping people dumbed down in a sense, calcifying them. When I say calcifying, that's a whole nother conversation, but they're trying to fight it, but you can't fight what's inevitable. And I just see where people are finding other interests. They're picking up their own phones, they're creating their own content, they're doing this, they're doing that. There's so many interests that I don't have to live vicariously through a superstar. Just like now, look at the change that's happened since this election. Now all of a sudden the White House is allowing podcasters in the press room. So it's people are finding their own stimulation, no longer needing somebody else to provide it for them. And I think more and more that is happening, but it's hard for us to see it because we still see life through our lens and the life we came up. But I think with the younger generation, they don't even see the world like we do. And I just think it'd be less interest in a lot of this stuff. And that's what I think really is happening to the NBA. Like right now, they starting to see the decline in viewership. Not necessarily the product's not great, but people got other interests, man, especially during these months in the spring and stuff like that. It's just different.
Yeah. What Jim, what you say to that, Jim?
Yeah, I was thinking about what you were saying, Clayton, and I feel like in today's world, and it definitely is a lack of being able to understand people's interaction with the sport. And if people are replacing that identity of, hey, I'm a Celtics fan, or I'm a Lakers fan, and they're not even replacing that identity with a sports team, where we're seeing a lot of people replace that with is politics.
Politics?
Yeah, people are throwing away their team identity for a political identity.
Okay.
I mean, I see. At least that's what I see in the Midwest.
Yeah,
and
it's
a little disappointing.
That's why I think like people are like, all right, for me, I'm a sports fan, right? And so, especially basketball. And so I think like there's still a connection. And I agree with Tom, because Tom said that's why they're looking for a new face of the league, because I think people still want to be able to, at least my generation, want to be able to live vicariously through excellent athletes. And the reason why they want it, because number one, we won't get that opportunity to do what Michael Jordan or Larry Bird or Magic Johnson did. So we have to live vicariously through them, if you want that. But other than that, I don't see like how, people, you got your own life. Everybody do live their own life. But I think in certain ways you do live vicariously through like, like the guys that you admire when you see on the court.
I think we're past that, Mike. I think we're to the age where we're past that. Maybe when we were younger. I think right now, our age now, we're past that part of it, and I think that's where the nostalgia comes into play, because if you were a Michael Jordan fan in the '90s, you know what I'm saying, and that was your team, so them winning, you felt like you was winning as well,
right?
You know what I'm saying? And then you read that to the car you was driving. Oh, man, that's what I did. This car, the girl you was dating. Oh man, I was dating. What's the name? Well, the job you had. Oh man, my job was this. Boy, I was working here. You put all that together, and you look at, oh man, it was the best years of my life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They were some of the best years of my life. I think that's where that nostalgia comes into play, and a lot of people don't want to let that part go. Because you feel like, oh man, when Chicago was winning, I was winning too. You know what I'm saying? So
everybody nostalgia though, like everybody has something. Every generation has something that they can look back on and said that, and feel good about it, or that inspired them or made them feel good. So that's for every generation, ours and going forward, right?
Well, to Tom's point about them still searching for a face for the league, and then you, Mike, saying because they think people still needs to live vicariously through stars. See, that's the old playbook. Even those that's controlling the NBA and trying to market it, they're stuck in their paradigm. But what I'm saying is young kids, and Jim said they letting team identity go for political identity. Some people are letting all of it go and they're finding it in themselves. They're not attaching to anything else. You know what I'm saying? So that old playbook is no longer effective. You witnessed that with the Democrats still trying to play the old playbook in this election, and it didn't work because the consciousness of the people is in another place. So it don't work, but you still stuck there because so the NBA is still stuck where it's stuck at. They had a model, they grew their league based on a model, and they still trying to duplicate that model. But the model, I don't think it's effective anymore because people no longer, and I'm not saying everybody, it's still some people that need to live vicariously through. But a lot of people, a lot of the young kids, they don't even, their paradigm is so different. It's so different than ours. That's just what I believe that's what's happening.
Because everything right now in this generation is instantaneous. You know what I'm saying? All you got to do is press a button on a phone or a tablet. You're right there. As soon as you want the information, you got it in the palm of your hand. You got to remember when we were watching the NBA, we had to watch. We had to sit in front of a television set. You know what I'm saying? We had to physically carve out time in our day to physically be at that spot to watch a game. So that made our commitment better. You know what I'm saying? Now we have the opportunity to say, you know what? I'll catch that game highlights on Sports Center, so I don't have to watch the whole game. Or I can catch the game, I can watch it after the game because I can just stream it to myself whenever I get a chance. So that's what I think the NBA needs to catch up with. Catch up with the times and what's going on with the technology before they understand exactly how to market their people. Because I'm gonna tell you that the WNBA is doing a great job of it right now. We say it all the time. Caitlin Clark has a great following, and they're boosting on their following. Everywhere Caitlin Clark plays now, she probably is gonna get televised on TV. You know what I'm saying? Even we were putting out there when she playing the Mystics here in Baltimore now.
Are they saying, man, y'all, I'm gonna ask all y'all because most of y'all, all of y'all, are more tuned into the women's game than I am, right? So Caitlin Clark has her fair share of naysayers, right? She has her fair share of naysayers, haters, if you will, right? My question is, do y'all hear people saying about her that she's not doing something Diana Taurasi used to do, or she's not doing something that Candace Parker used to do, or she's not as good at this than Cheryl Swoop, or she's not as good as that than Cheryl Miller? Do y'all hear that when they're talking about her?
No, you don't. You don't. And I'm gonna tell you why. When she first hit the WNBA and the naysayers decide, a few people wanted to step up and say that she, you know, it was a lot of hype and it had anything negative to say. They got so much backlash from that it just, I think that just deterred people from you know, from saying stuff like that, number one. So I think they probably took the approach that we're gonna just, the naysayers, we're gonna just wait and see. You know what I mean? We're going to wait for Caitlin Clark to give us that that ammo that we need, and then later on you'll see the naysayers. Like if Caitlin Clark don't measure up, then the naysayers will come out of the closet. But I think she have naysayers, but I think that they are they've been stuffed into the closet because of the backlash that you get from opposing her.
Yeah, it's the same way when Magic and Bird came in the league in 78. You know, I mean, was it 79?
80.
Yeah. When they came in the league, the league was not doing as well. I mean, was not doing well at all. So when they brought that energy in, and this is the key, they brought the energy in. Caitlin Clark is bringing energy to the WNBA that the WNBA has never seen before. Okay, so therefore, if you're a sportscaster or something and you do something negative going against Caitlin Clark, You better have your numbers right. You know what I'm saying? Because then you will get crucified. Because the energy that she brings, you know what I'm saying? It's the same way when Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant came in the league. The energy that these guys brought in the league from the beginning they stepped on the court was just infectious. You wanted to watch them play. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the NBA does not have right now. These superstars coming out the draft, and you want to watch them play.
Yes.
You want to feel their energy when they get on the court.
And
I can't even tell you who's going to be the #1 draft pick this year in the NBA because the college part of it has just interested me so much. I don't even care who's the #1 draft pick. But remember, in our day, you knew who was going #1 because it was a big debate from January to draft day. Who was the better college player #1?
You knew who was going 1 through 10.
Right. It was a big deal. So I think it's the energy that Caitlin Clark brings to the game of the WNBA that forces people to say, "Oh, let me wait a minute before I say something."
And
is it? Oh, go ahead, Jim.
No, I was just gonna say that energy that you're talking about, which is lacking, that energy then helps drive some of the narratives of you had Bird Magic. They had that thing in the NCAA championship. Then they brought it to the league, and then they started going head to head in the NBA championship. When you've got that energy, and then you can have some rivalries and some competition against some of those superstars, and maybe even paint it with a little bit of animosity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got some drama. We don't have any drama. We got watered down. Are there superstars? Are there great players? Yeah, we know who the names are, right? I could watch Tatum play and enjoy his skills. That's fun, right? Because that's why we like the game. But where's the narrative, right? Who's the rivalry against? Right. And it's lacking that energy, just like you're saying.
Yep.
Well, do you think that Caitlin Clark, like, is she successful by default? And by that, I mean the NBA, like the WNBA that she is coming into is different and it's getting the attention because the NBA has like taken a step back. When Diana Taurasi, or if you take Diana Taurasi or any of those young ladies that came from Connecticut or, those other teams, they were good too. They were some very good ball players. So is part of that her success is by default is my question.
I don't believe that.
Not because you got to remember, she brought her success with her from college. You know what I'm saying? She brought it from college to go into the NBA. That's not a default on her part.
No, I'm saying but could it have been a perfect storm? You know what I mean? Like people, like we wasn't before she even caught everybody's attention. College basketball had taken a step back. The NBA product has, wasn't what it was, and so now you have a situation where as though she can step in at this time and then benefit from what college basketball is now and what the NBA is now.
I don't believe so, Mike, because I believe all that stuff could be successful. I believe she has a whole nother crowd. She almost has a following like a Taylor Swift in a sense, and energy is infectious. So when you putting out that kind of energy and that joyfulness and stuff like that, it's going to attract. And I just think the people she attract wasn't even normal NBA fans or anything like that.
I think what was good with Caitlin Clark in a sense that she didn't come out of that factory at UConn. That she came out of ours. You know what I'm saying? That she came out of Midwest with Mexico. You know what I mean? She was able to show that she can ball and she not the typical player from a UConn big time school and things like that. And she was able still to make her mark. I think that's part of the appeal with her, to be honest with you.
And the fact that she was an underdog. She's not the biggest. She wasn't the biggest college player. She didn't have the best handles. She didn't have one. She had one of the best shooting styles, but she was she was a blue collar, hardworking individual that came to play every single day. And everybody gravitated to her that knew the struggle that she was going through to become that top player. You know what I'm saying? And that's how Magic was. Magic was the hood, the black person's, oh my God, he's great. He's gonna come in and tear the league up. Larry Bird, that central area in the USA, down home, hardworking, can shoot the basketball anywhere. And we gravitated to that type of situation. They were heroes. They weren't heroes, but we looked up to them because if they could do it, we could do it. That was the type of mentality, and that's the type of mentality Caitlin Clark carries for this younger generation. If she can do it because she comes from where I come from, if she can do it, I can do it. And that's infectious. That's energy right there.
I think the perfect storm on top of all that Caitlin brought, that energy, was all of the controversy of the naysayers, right? I for the life of me, I couldn't figure out why Diana Taurasi was giving Caitlin Clark the business, right? She was being very negative, and in hindsight, I wonder if that wasn't maybe even a little bit intentional to create some controversy on top of that. In hindsight, it worked. I thought at the time, it was like, man, WNBA's eating their own. This is stupid. In hindsight, it blew things up even bigger.
Yeah.
So you think that could have been by design? You think that could have been by design?
I don't know if it was by design, but it certainly helped. And
I wouldn't be surprised if it was. I wouldn't be surprised. Like you say, looking back at it, I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Yeah.
It put a little gas on the fire.
Yeah.
And that girl has the ability to take a person that's not a basketball fan and turn them into one. And I think that's what she's done.
Yeah.
Also, a large part of her fan base. She's taken people that wasn't basketball fans and turned them into it.
You've got clips of a 7-year-old Caitlin Clark playing against 12-year-old boys going around YouTube and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just a kid having fun. And people take that energy and it just adds to the mystique.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So I want to Tom made a great point, right? He said the greatest thing, and I'm surprised you guys didn't point this out because all of you guys are fathers, and I know that fathers mean that their daughters, what fathers mean to their daughters, and she was raised right by her father, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all right, so I want to add to that, right? And I always point out the fact that there's a difference between, in the NBA, there's a difference between a player who comes from a 2-parent household, and there's a difference between a player that comes from a single-parent household. Now, not saying that either one is wrong because you can't control the circumstances, right? But you can tell like the difference between the choices that the guys who come from single-parent households has made throughout their careers. And Caitlin Clark is moving and operating the way that Magic and Mike operated throughout their careers, like with her decision making, how she handles the media and stuff like that. So she is, because she has that foundation, she's moving differently than even the guys in the NBA, like how they're moving. So what y'all think about that statement? With the exception of what's the guy name? Steph Curry. But I think that she is she's so far in her career is young, but she's moving and handling herself the way that those guys used to handle themselves back in the 80s. And
I think when you have the father around, he's, we all the fathers, like Tom said, and we offer a balance. You know what I'm saying? We offer a balance to our children to keep them even keel. You know what I mean? Not too high when things going right, not too low when things are going bad. And I think that's the most important thing. One of the most important things that we can teach our children. You know what I'm saying? It ain't always going to be, sky in the pie, and it ain't always going to be down in the dumps either. You know what I mean? But you got to keep yourself You know what I mean? On the same wavelength all the way through. And I can
Mhm.
see that in her. She has a maturity. Even before she got to the league, I noticed a maturity in her when she was in school and things like that. And
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? And I'm definitely gonna give the credit to the fathers. You know what I mean, I'm one of the ones that don't think we get enough credit anyway. So good job, Dad. You know what I'm saying? Good job, Dad.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
always gonna say that. You know what I'm saying? Good job, Dad. So yeah, I think it definitely plays a part. I think it definitely plays a part.
Yeah, she doesn't
Yeah.
seem like she's searching to fill any kind of void. It's like Tunk said, she has that balance. I think Mike, to me, Michael's relationship with his father drove his competitiveness. Like he was seeking the admiration of his father, whom his father always gave it to his brother Larry. So that was the driving force in Mike to beat Larry so he can get his dad's attention, which was also a good thing for him and his competitive nature. But you know, some of these people, when you got that good balance like that, then you know she can just play for just the love of the game. She's not looking to fill a void of nothing. So you don't have, you know, crazy behavior. You don't have a whole bunch of seeking a whole bunch of attention because you're validated already.
That's right.
So now you're just playing strictly for loving the game, you know. So yeah, I think that's a valid point to that, Mike. The balance that comes with that.
Yeah, I think that like I said, like your decision making and the way you move, I think also, you know, that it affects your decision making and the way you
Well,
move.
yeah. You make bad decisions when you're seeking validation. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Well,
You're
yeah.
absolutely right. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I thought that was a good point. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So I know we spoke about this on this topic. You know, we almost an hour on this topic. But what about that fight? What about that fight last night with Tank and the guy Roach? What y'all think about that fight last night?
I didn't see
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
What you think?
I think Tank took the foot off the gas.
Mm-hmm.
He was in control for the most part. First part of the fight. I mean, he was landing bigger shots, and they were trading. He was trading. Roach was giving him jabs, and he was giving him heavy shots. And
Do you think Tank got tired? Do you think Tank got
I
tired?
don't know. I don't think so. Because he was still able to put a few rounds in late where he was throwing some heavy stuff. He didn't look gassed,
Right.
and that's always been, you know, one of his trademarks is he doesn't get tired.
Mm-hmm.
He can throw hard throughout the entire fight. It just there was a spot in the middle rounds. I think it was 7 or 8, 7, I think, where Roach hit him with a couple of good shots and made him back up.
Yeah.
And I think Tank's got a lot of respect for Roach and vice versa because they know each other. They've sparred.
They know each other well. Yeah.
And they've come up together.
Yeah.
After that round where he backed Tank up, Tank came out and was throwing big bombs and took control and really had a great round after that. So Tank had it in him, I think. I think he just took the foot off the gas because he was up and maybe he thought he was going to coast to the finish, but Roach stole some rounds late in the fight, and it ended up one guy had it Tank by a point, and then the other two guys had it even. And yeah, that just felt like, I could see how that definitely could have happened.
Yeah. What was your take, Clay?
Tank, that's Tank's strategy. Like, so for me, this is how Tank fight. He doesn't come out and press real hard. He gathers information. And then as he's gathering information, then he unleashes on you and knock you out.
Yeah.
And I thought Roach, I'm going to give him a lot of credit. That strategy couldn't work for this guy because this guy had a chin. This guy had a good counter, and he understood Tank's style. And he stood in there. And then late in the fight, he started bringing it right back to Tank. And you could see in Tank's posture and everything that I can't knock this dude out. And it just changed the complexion of things. But I thought this guy was timing up for Tank. And I think Tank fought a good fight, but I think this boy fought an even better fight. And if you give the guy the knockdown per the rules, this guy wins the fight, you know. But I really, truly believe that fight was a draw. I watched it this morning. That fight was an even match. And if you give him the knockdown, he wins. But that guy, Roach, is a good fighter.
Yeah.
He's an excellent fighter.
He used that strategy against Tank because it felt like he started analyzing and figuring out, okay, here's how Tank's getting at me. And some of those big bombs ended up, Roach came back with that big right hand.
Yes. He was countering.
So he was able to counter Tank. He was able to counter.
Yes. And the guy had a good IQ, right? And he even said at his press conference, they asked him about Tank's power. He said, yeah, he's got legit power. He said, but I also understand how he's knocking these guys out. But I'm not going to tell you guys because you'll say it and let him know. But I can see how he's knocking these guys out. He's very twitchy and stuff like that. So these guys, you talking about two fighters that know each other well.
Evenly matched and all that. See that? You know what I mean?
It was an old chess match.
Yes, it was a chess match.
If it was anything that was Tank, you could say is Achilles' heel with his fight has always been his conditioning. You know, a couple times Tank ain't make weight. You know what I'm saying? Couple things, you know what I mean? So it's conditioning. Did he take that serious? So it's always been like if you can get him in the later rounds, he would be less effective. You know what I'm saying? But it was the man getting to the later rounds because he was getting guys out. He was making early work of a lot of guys too. So yeah.
Well, let me ask y'all this because I thought going into the fight, I heard somebody say that like the promotion going into this fight, the back and it wasn't a whole lot back and forth between Tank and the guy Roach, and so sometimes fighters use that back and forth as like motivation to get them, help them for their training and motivation for that fight. And then another thing, Tank. Before the fight, Tank was talking about retiring. Like he coming up, his career is winding down. So if Tank is looking forward to retirement, plus he don't have that same type of motivation that he's looking for that he usually get from fighters that he's going against, then I thought maybe, you know, that was a good strategy for the guy Roach to not really give any like bulletin board type material to Tank to motivate him to fight him harder. So, you know, I thought that could have been part of his strategy too.
But the two fighters fought in the amateur ranks, and they fought a close fight then.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but I mean, but still, he still could implement that strategy of not really giving this guy no type of bulletin board material, you know, because he could have brought that up. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times when fighters fight each other, they have history with each other. You know, they let it be known that, you know, I think I can beat you now. You know what I mean? I know what your weaknesses are now, you know.
It was definitely a mutual respect between the boxers.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I don't think it was something that Tank didn't do. At the end of the day, that guy's a great fighter, and so is Tank. And that guy came and he fought an excellent fight.
Yeah.
It was that simple. He fought an excellent fight. Yeah. So they're gonna rematch it. I
sure hope so, man. I sure hope so.
They're gonna rematch it.
Man, we not saying because in that weight division, man, you got 4 champions. I was talking to my homeboy. It's 4 champions in that weight division, man. And they not like you got Vasily Klitschko, Vasily Lomachenko. You got Shakur, you got Tank, and
that guy. Yeah.
And it's like, man, you got these 4 guys, and they not even getting down with one another, man. You know what I'm saying?
It's killing the sport. It's killing the sport.
It really is. It really is.
And they asked Tank about that, and he's got those guys on his list. So he talked about, it's coming soon, but he still got a to-do list. And he mentioned those guys.
He get the matches done, man, over there in Saudi Arabia, man. You gotta get him involved. Once he get involved, man, he make it happen. because he paid guys, man. The Sheik over in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Yeah. Once he get it, I don't know if this guy's a promoter or what, or just a fan, but he make them matches happen, man. He get them matches.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah. So it was a good fight though. But I really thought it was an even fight, except for the knockdown. It wasn't a knockdown. He did take a punch, but he took a knee, and according to the rules, that's a knockdown. They didn't give it to him.
Not to be counted. You can't voluntarily take a knee. That's
you can't voluntarily take a knee. Yep.
Yeah, that's not.
I think he was claiming something was in his eye.
Yeah, he did.
He said grease or something was in his eye.
Yeah, and he went over to the corner and they wiped his eye with a towel. So I'm gonna take him for his word, but that's despite the point.
You know how it got in his eye. You know how it got in his eye. Somebody was punching him.
Yeah.
Well, no, he said something, some kind of. He didn't want to get caught while his eye was burning. Is what he said. But either way, however way you look at it, you take a knee, you take a knee.
Yep.
You know,
I'd have said that against a prime Tyson too. I'd be like, "No, man, I want to wipe my face, man. I don't want them getting." I don't want to get my man.
Hey, Tom. So, what was you saying? What was you saying earlier before we came on? Before we went live about what move that was made?
Oh yeah. In the NFL, Debo Samuels got traded to the Commanders.
Yep.
Yeah, he got traded to the Commanders. Now I've been hearing, that the 49ers was gonna move off of Debo because they wasn't gonna be able to pay him and Ayuk. They gave Ayuk the big contract last season, and they said they wasn't gonna be able to pay both of them. So I wasn't surprised that they was gonna move off him. I didn't know when, but Hey, Washington jumped in, man, and they made a shot. Now, I don't think Debo is no elite receiver or anything like that, but I definitely think he can help that team. I definitely think he can help them. I mean, as long as he's healthy. You know what I'm saying? As long as he's healthy.
Yeah, I think with Debo experience, I think he definitely be good for a young quarterback.
Yeah. And the other receiver, what's the other receiver? Man, I forget his name every time, man.
He's the number one right now.
Yeah, what's his name? Clayton McLaurin.
Yes, McLaurin. Yes, he's nice.
I like him.
Yeah, I like him. Yeah, I like him.
He's nice. I just like to see Washington add a pass, but like something on that D line. I would love to see Myles Garrett get traded to the Commanders.
They got so much cap room, man. I far from done. I think they're gonna still make some noise, man. They far from done, man. Yeah.
So if they can get Miles over there, boy, watch out. Watch out.
Might go after them hard too. They say Philly might go after Miles. Everybody should be trying to go at him. To be honest, though,
but Cleveland got to be willing to let him go. I'm not so sure. I think they still holding steady, not willing to give him his trade.
But the thing about it, they so far in the woods, man, in the weeds. They probably trading for some draft stock and things.
Yeah, they got to do something.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jim. What you about to say?
I was just going to ask, where's Miles at in his contract? Is his contract up?
No,
I don't think so. I don't think he's a free agent or anything.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. I think he got a couple more years in, but I don't know specifically though. I don't know specifically yet.
They got to pick up that contract.
Yeah. So all right. So now we get ready to get into March Madness now with basketball. The college basketball March Madness great start up, man. But have y'all? What's up, Clay?
What happened to Cooper Flag?
I was great. Ask y'all Cooper.
He got injured, right?
He did. I ain't know.
Yeah, I didn't know Cooper Flag got injured either. But
yeah,
I gotta look that up.
Was talking about number one pick. I was thinking it'd be him.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. I'm looking at the draft, the top 10, and Cooper Flag is number one, right? And the top.
He got poked in the eye, didn't he?
That's what happened to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not serious.
I don't know.
I hope it ain't nothing serious.
Because I think he left the game or something, didn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know he was as big as he is, though. He's a big guy, man. I didn't know he was there. I didn't know he had that size with him.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know he was that big. They say he can play. I haven't seen him.
You know what I like about
I like
Cooper Flag game is Cooper Flag don't fall in love with that 3-point shot. So he got a nice mid-range game and he can go all the way to the cup, right? And so some people think that Cooper Flag could possibly be like the face of the NBA because of you know, like because of his playing style. Now I don't know that like probably like remains to be seen, but they do have him slated to go #1 in the draft. He going #1. Then they got the guy from Rutgers, Dylan Harper, another guy from Rutgers. See, I'm not familiar with Rutgers at all.
me.
But they got those two guys, 2 and 3. So I'm like, man, yeah. But I like Cooper Flag though. I like his game though because he's pretty aggressive.
Are they?
What are the Wizards going to do with him?
What you say?
I mean, what are the Wizards going to do with him?
The Wizards aren't going to get him.
I hope not.
The Wizards aren't going to get him. Politics are the wheels are already spinning.
Yeah.
Wemby, blood clots in his shoulders, sitting out the rest of the season. That's just a ploy to tank. I would not be surprised if San Antonio end up with the pick in the lottery and Cooper Flag to go along with Wemby and them.
Yeah.
I would like to see him go somewhere like San Antonio. I wouldn't want to see Cooper Flag go to like New York or nothing like that. One of those big market teams. San Antonio, I think, would probably be a good fit for him.
Yeah.
Definitely not the Wizards, though. I'm like,
he ain't going there. He ain't going there.
Look, you ain't even worried about that, huh? You ain't even worried
He
about
ain't going there. He ain't going there. He is not going there. No.
Hey,
No.
now if you are Cooper Flag, right?
Mhm.
Do players like I know they do that in football? Like if they get drafted by a team or that they don't want to go to, like do they threaten to sit out in basketball? They don't do that in basketball, do they?
They can, but
no, he already. Go ahead, Clayton. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead, man. You go ahead.
But he hasn't necessarily declared yet either. You know what I mean? He hasn't.
No, he hasn't.
Like he's going to come out. So maybe he might wait. You know what I mean? Things fall into place before he declares it. You know what I'm saying?
Yo,
And I think
stay eligible for 8 years before I go to the Wizards.
But the thing about it too, I don't know him well, but I think he's a good character guy. So I think he'll go whoever draft him. I don't think he'd be one of them prima donnas like that. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Whoever pick him up,
business right here, and you talking about his career. If I thought I was gonna fall to the Wizards, I stay.
The Pelicans gonna get him. The Pelicans gonna get him down there with Zion, 2 Duke boys. Gonna get him.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, man. But I've been following the college game, man. I've been watching too many NBA games, man. My whole basketball thing has just been off, man. This season, man. Yeah, it's been off. Everything I get is from like online. You know, I'm looking at box scores and things like that. Yeah.
Well, let me. All right. Let me ask you. I know I'm jumping around. Clayton, you sent out a group message about Joy Taylor and the situation.
I just said that. Yeah. I just said that, man.
So, but look, what y'all think about the Joy Taylor situation, right? Like now, supposedly Joy Taylor is suspended right now, supposedly for that situation that happened with that. What's the young lady name? Frye, Frye, or something like that. I know I ain't her first name right. What y'all think about them suspending Joy Taylor, or possibly?
I didn't think. Go ahead, Jim.
I was just gonna say, you know, that just feels like it feels like a risk management thing. Yeah.
But now, is Skip Bayless? Did they suspend Skip Bayless? I think the other guy is suspended.
No more.
Skip left. They parted ways a long time ago.
Yeah, Skip don't work there no more.
Right. He's not at Fox anymore.
Right.
But it's speculation that's why they left, because he knew this was coming or something. I don't know.
The other guy was the one that's in charge of all TV content. One. Yeah. He the one in charge. I don't know his name offhand, but he was the other guy. And they gave him a what do you call it?
I think his name was Dixon.
Dixon.
administrative leave or something like that.
Yeah, they did him first. Yep.
Right. So I think all ties to this lawsuit, they was talking about Shannon, and Shannon wasn't part of the lawsuit. He was mentioned, but he wasn't part of the lawsuit. So, but the thing with Joy Taylor, man, I was surprised, to be honest, that it took this long. I was surprised that it took this long. I thought they would, move a little bit faster. But I guess after they did their investigation, some other things then came out. I guess they said, all right, we got to move now. But for and I know she's not the only one, sleep her way to the top or anything like that. But when she came out and said, if something come out, I just say the guy raped me or something, man. Man, diabolical, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is diabolical.
Yeah, man. I'm like, damn, So, she go from, everybody know who her brother is. Everybody know who her big brother is. And she had a job as a bartender. And now all of a sudden she hosting the show on FS1. Yeah, okay. Pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Come on.
Or let somebody else pull on the bootstraps.
Right.
Let somebody pull on the bra straps.
They were bootstraps. They were bootstraps.
That's easier, you know what I'm saying?
Y'all crazy, man. Y'all crazy.
Tom said the same thing. He said he let these women sleep their way to the top, and then they used the Me Too movement to save their lives.
Yeah.
You can't be willing to participate and then cry wolf. You know what I mean? Things don't work out the way you want them to. That's basic.
They say Acho, they say he was mentioned, but he's not part of the lawsuit either. That's why he's still on the air.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about.
Yeah,
he's horrible, man. He's horrible, man. I mean, that guy, man, he's terrible.
Yeah, I'm not.
What y'all think about Steve? What y'all think about Steve Smith?
Steve
Smith Senior. Yeah.
I heard about that, man. And the husband, man, to put that out there, man.
Yeah, he put the phone call out there publicly. Steve was quiet. Steve was quiet. Oh, sorry. And that was it.
How did it get out?
The husband put it out. Yeah, he put out.
He's the one that put it out. He put everything out there, man. Made him look a little crazy for doing it.
Am I not mistaken? Is this guy part of the Ravens organization? The husband?
His wife is.
Just
the wife is.
Yeah,
his wife is. But the thing about, I think the guy put it out there because he wanted to cause some friction in Steve Smith's household. You know what I mean? And cause some personal embarrassment to Steve Smith. You disrupted my household. I'm about to disrupt your household.
Disrupt yours.
Yeah, man.
That'll do it.
Steve.
So that'll do it.
He's sorry he got caught.
Yeah.
He more so sorry he got caught than anything else.
He said, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was it. Dude was asking him, pressing him. Steve wouldn't say nothing.
That's right. Because I said, why he answered the phone? But he called from his wife's phone.
He might have called from a different number.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
That was a crazy situation.
Yeah.
Well, what's the latest on the Justin Tucker situation with those allegations going against Justin Tucker?
It's 16 women now.
Yeah.
Real? God. DeCasa, he just addressed it last week for the first time. He just addressed it, right?
What did he say?
He said, he's going to, he's paraphrasing, of course. He was saying that, he's a supporter and Justin Tucker and everything. And he don't want to do nothing to all the investigation is, over and things like that. And John Harbaugh came and said, he love him, his family, whatever, like that. And he said, but we're going to look at his position because, he's been in the league. He's 30 some years old, not necessarily because of this. This what John Harbaugh was saying. Like we was going to look into maybe drafting his position anyway before any of this came out. Yeah, but it might be expedited. It might be higher on the priority. You understand? It might be a little high on the priority list now.
Do y'all think
gives-
Justin Tucker is getting treated differently than the guy at Cleveland? What's the guy at Cleveland? What's the quarterback? Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not even national news, I don't think. I think it's just local.
Well,
Yeah.
it's older. It's older. It's older events, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are events that are supposedly taken a lot longer ago.
Yeah.
But I think the Ravens can kind of have a little cover with what Harbaugh's saying just because he's had a down year.
Oh yeah.
And maybe they can just say, yeah, well, we don't want to deal with this, however it ends up, and we can just say, yeah, it's time for us to move on.
Yeah.
And use
And they wouldn't be wrong. And they wouldn't be wrong if they looked at that. They wouldn't be wrong if they like, man, we just want to cut ties. We don't want this to be a distraction. You understand? We wish you luck. You know, all that good stuff. They tell you still got a home here. We love you and all that, but get on. You know what I'm saying? Get the hell on.
I do think the coverage is different, Mike. Without a shadow of a doubt. I think some of it lends itself to the positions they play.
Right.
Deshaun, quarterback is high profile where kicker's not.
Right. That's a
let me ask you this though. Let me say this about that situation. So if it do, like, should position matter? If you know, like, if looking at it from the female point of view, like, she don't care if she get assaulted by a quarterback, a running back, a towel boy. You know what I mean? So if you represent that league and you there on a, you know, then I don't think they should be able to hide. Well, we're not going to put as much emphasis on this situation because that was just a kicker. You know what I mean? Like, that's the one who's affected by that definitely don't want to, you know, she don't want to hear that nonsense.
I don't think it's going to affect her one way or the other. I don't think it's going to affect her that, you know what I mean, one is a quarterback, just a place kicker.
When you bring attention to a situation like that, you have a guy who is allegedly somebody who is in a community that's a predator. You don't care what his position is on the team. You know what I mean?
No, you don't.
You want that to get out there because you want people to know that, you know, you're looking out for the community. Don't allow this guy to come into your establishment. You know what I mean?
I didn't even know it was that many women now. So
and they are covering it. I'm just saying it's not to the same magnitude as Deshaun.
That's what I'm saying.
Like her justice is going to come from the justice system. But I was just saying the magnitude of covering is still alleged. And when it was alleged with Deshaun, it was more media coverage because it's a high profile player in a high profile position where Justin Tucker is not. But they are covering it. That's how we all know about it.
Yeah.
And time's not wrong because, I mean, and this is just me being the old guy again. We've lived through a lot of decades where the bias and the stereotype was part of daily life, right? And that stereotype that we grew up with and had to live through about the black male demographic and sex is different than at least back in the day, right? And so
it's true.
How much of that bias is still underneath the surface involved here? I don't know. I can't tell. I can't talk to it from personal experience, but I mean that's just that's always kind of been the bias that I've been taught that has been out there for ever since. I mean and this goes back, you know, hundreds of years, right?
Right. Yeah. So that's why. You're right. Time do make a good point, and that's why I just, you know, I want that question answered about, like, you know, the positions that they play. You know, like this young lady don't care, you know, what position they play. You know, if he was out of line, he was out of line. So,
yeah.
And then so, Yeah, and so Tom made up. He brought up another good point too, because you remember when Joe Mazzulla was getting that job for when they first announced that he was getting a head coaching job for the Boston Celtics, right? Malika Andrews brought up some of his transgressions that happened back in college.
Yep.
She went as far as to say, I would be what's the word she used? Remiss. I would be remiss if I didn't, bring up this. So, but what the one thing, I don't know, like what was the result of that case? If it was dismissed, if he had to do community service or anything, but what did that have to do with his coaching?
Nothing.
His head coaching position at the Boston Celtics. I would be remiss, she said, if I didn't bring this up.
That's just the man. I mean, that woman, man, Malika Andrews, I don't watch that show. I don't watch it, right?
I don't watch her either.
Yeah, and I don't know if she don't like men, and I'm not talking about no homosexual type thing. I'm not talking about that. I just don't know.
Right.
She don't like men, but it seems like she don't respect men.
She have a lot of masculine energy.
You're right, man. And I remember one time, this was years ago, man, and you got my man Richard Jefferson is on there. He's saying something, and I think it was it might have been Paul Pierce at the time. And they were talking about their experiences as NBA ball players in locker rooms. They have experienced that on the highest level. Both of them are champions. And she's just like, nah, I don't think that's what it is. What do you mean thinking? I'm telling you what happened. We're telling you what goes on. You've never been in there. We're telling you and she's just real dismissive, man. And Kendrick Perkins too. Just dismiss whatever they're saying. I'm like, man. I said, yeah, man. But one nothing better when Stephen A., who I'm not a big fan of, but Stephen A. checked her that time when she called him. I don't know if y'all remember that. And it was related to my man who got fired up there, the previous coach in Boston. It was related to that whole situation. And she called Stephen A. and tried to get slick, and Stephen A. got with her. You know what I'm saying? Stephen A. got with her. And I like that, man. But man, no, that's just today, man. I really don't.
You're not a fan of Malika Andrews?
No, not at all, bro. Not at all, bro. Man.
Yeah, man. So I don't know what's gonna happen with that situation with Justin Tucker, though, man. But it's obvious that Justin, like this situation is not getting the same coverage as Deshaun Watson. So I don't know. But I you know what I mean. But it's crazy though, man, that like when athletes go into these massage parlors and these therapists, man, that these women got to put up with that kind of nonsense. Yeah. They even had allegations against Peyton Manning. You know what I mean? Oh, he had a situation with a trainer, and she had came.
He was in college, wasn't he?
Right. Yeah, he was in college.
Yeah, I remember.
Like, man, these young guys be off the hook, man, when it comes to.
Let's not forget they swept Robert Kraft under the rug.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sure
did.
Yeah.
Sure did. Hit him with a little fine, and that was it. They hit him with a little fine.
Swept that right under the rug. Yeah.
Robert Kraft's got that I can do anything money.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I was even surprised that like his indiscretion even came up. You know what I mean? Like it.
Right.
I'm like, what?
But as soon as it came up, it was gone.
Yeah,
It was up with a day or two, and then boom, he pay a little fine and go to some sensitivity training, and that's it.
Hey, somebody brought it up on Tom Brady roast, and Tom Brady checked him.
For real?
Don't talk about him. Yes.
Yeah. He did.
It was all fun and games with everything. So they mentioned Bob. He ain't doing that. Yeah.
He nipped that real quick. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, man. Was any good games coming on today? And any good games?
You and Clayton normally the ones that be on.
I don't know.
What be coming on? I don't know.
No, I don't know today. I watch USC, UCLA, the women's, and USC beat them again. This is the second time they beat UCLA. Juju threw in 30. Yeah, she threw in 30. Good
Yeah.
shooting day. She went 10 for 22, man. Had 3 blocks. Yeah.
Hey, before we look, quick question before we go. What's up with South Carolina lately? They said they haven't been looking good.
Yeah, Texas
I don't-
got in their ass.
Really?
Yeah, Texas beat them. I don't know if they lost any more since Texas. I'm not sure, but
I think
yeah,
they do
Blow 'em
have
out.
3 losses,
UConn blew them out one game. Didn't UConn blow them out?
yeah, and UConn, and UConn, yeah, and UConn blew them out. Yep.
Right, right. So I know
Yep.
they had at least 3 losses, but
Well, South Carolina lost a lot, and I don't think Watkins is back playing. I think she's
not.
out, and they lost a lot. So but they still in the mix. But yeah, they not as dominant. Yeah. To me, the women's game has got a lot of parity. You can go from one night, like that week, that night, that day that Iowa beat USC, but then USC turned around, beat UCLA. Notre Dame was beating everybody. Now somebody getting at Notre Dame. Notre Dame took a few losses. You got parity in this. You got parity. UConn was losing games. Now they winning big games. You got a lot of parity. It's shaping up nice for their tournament.
Yep.
Okay.
Shaping up nice.
I just pulled up the scores, and Notre Dame's playing right now. They're playing Louisville.
Okay.
Louisville is good too.
Yeah. Yep.
It's
23-20.
Yeah.
Zach Randolph. I think Zach Randolph daughter play on Louisville. I think Zach Randolph. What's the other guy? I think Gilbert Arenas' daughter play on Louisville too.
Okay.
Switching to the men's and switching to NBA. And speaking of Louisville, boy, my man Donovan Mitchell, he got with Boston the other night.
Yeah, they beat him.
Donovan Mitchell, he had like 37, 38. Yeah, he's some tough shots down the stretch too. Yeah, he's a tough shot.
So they gotta show me in the playoffs. That's all I'm waiting for.
That's when they gotta make their bones really. That's when they gotta make some noise, man. Man, Bickerstaff, JB Bickerstaff, he got Detroit playing all right, man.
Okay.
Because Monty Williams ain't there no more. He took over. He the coach with the Pistons now, and the Pistons playing good ball.
Okay.
With the same roster.
Yeah.
It's the same roster, and he turned it around.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like I said, I don't see him, so I don't know exactly. I can't compare from one. You know how they playing from one coach to the next, man. But I know they playing. And I like the boy down in Orlando, man. If he stopped thinking he a jump shot shooter, man. Banchero. I like him, man. That boy big, man. He, big, he wide, but he want to be, Carmelo. He want to, shoot jump shots.
That's just that generation. Everybody want to be,
Now I do think Cleveland might be able to get over the hump because they picked up the guy Hunter during the draft. I mean, during the trade deadline. Right. That might be just enough they needed. I'm waiting to see. But
right. It could be.
Yeah.
I still think the team to beat over there is Boston.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I still think and that's Milwaukee. The Milwaukee got to go through them. Cleveland got to go through them. I don't even care about the playoffs start. You got to beat Boston.
Yeah. So they now, what do y'all think about real quick? Kendrick Perkins said he thinks that Golden State, they get in the playoffs, they're gonna get knocked out in the first round. I think about that.
The matchup matter. I got to see the matchup.
Right.
Yeah.
Just to throw that out there, it's not enough for me.
Right. Yeah, man. You don't know where they're gonna be playing. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, but I think if they're healthy, man, if they are healthy, I don't think there'll be an easy out.
I don't think so.
I don't think there'll be an easy out if they're healthy. You know what I'm saying? Because Jimmy Butler didn't play last night. Philly ran him out.
Okay.
Jimmy ain't play. Well, what I was saying, Philly was up a lot, but you know what I'm saying. But Jimmy wasn't playing.
Embiid didn't play for Philly though, right?
No, Embiid shut down for the season. He shut down.
He done.
Yeah, he done.
Y'all think he out of Philly?
It's going to be hard to move him, though. That's the thing. If he had that anvil of a contract, what I'm saying? I think they would move him, man. But it's going to be tough, man, with that contract he has, man. It's going to be tough to move him, man.
Yeah.
At this point, you just got to hope he get healthy and hope that he can, help your team have some type of success in the postseason, man. That's, winging a prayer pretty much now with him. Because I think Clayton said this yesterday, man. Who he's been is who he's going to be. You know,
Right.
I don't know what years this for Embiid. Maybe what is 8th, 9th year, something like that. You don't turn into a whole completely different player after you've been in the league 8, 9, 10 years. You know what I'm
Not
saying?
that long.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
fellas, I appreciate y'all. Thanks for another great show.
Man, I'm glad I'm able to do this on a Sunday, man. Back, I ain't been here on Sunday in a while, man. I'm glad
Yeah.
I'm going, be able to come back on a Sunday.
Yeah,
I didn't
you
have my
usually in
glasses.
church.
I ain't got my glasses on, Tunk. So I wasn't expecting you. That's why I called you Corey. My
All
bad,
good.
dog.
Oh, brother, it's all good. No apologies, son. Yeah, brother.
No,
Look,
I want you to know there's no mistaking you, bro.
yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what it is.
At least you didn't call him by the wrong name like I did.
Oh yeah.
My stupid
Hey, the
ears
whole
couldn't.
time I thought you talking about somebody else. You keep saying Tom. I'm like, oh, he talking about somebody else. I ain't know you talking about.
Yeah.
But
The old sucks.
I promise.
yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
You guys enjoy your day, man.
Likewise,
Man,
likewise, brothers. Talk to y'all soon, man.
Have a
all
good
right,
one.
man. Y'all do the same.
All right.
All right, man. I want to thank everybody who tuned in and participated in the chat. Tom, appreciate you, man, for all the great comments and the great input. And everybody else to make sure to like and subscribe. And we will be back next Saturday at 1 p.m. 1 p.m. next Saturday, 11 a.m. next Sunday. And make sure to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave a comment, and we'll see y'all next weekend. Peace.